How the heck did we go from this to this in a half a year? Hello? Like where did you all go? Are you playing better games? Why would you do that? Come back. I gotta be pretty honest here, I haven't really played Outriders since the demo came out. I mean, I played it to make this video, but before that, I hadn't really touched it since the demo came out. So I guess you could say I'm a fake gamer. Been spending a little bit too much time playing Nintendog's Chihuahua Edition. The Chihuahua is dead. I was pretty impressed by the headlines when the game first came out. You know, there's a lot of positive feedback about the game. It had like record-breaking numbers when it first came out, but if you look at the Steam charts, you can see that the numbers went down hard in just a couple months, and the Steam reviews paint a pretty mixed picture. Literally, but the reviews seem pretty consistent all the way through. People seem to like the gameplay, but really hate the endgame content, not really be a big fan of the story, have serious networking issues, or just see some serious problems with the balance of the game. Keep in mind, all of those reviews are mostly from like 6 months ago when the game came out, and picking the game up now, yeah, it still has all of those problems. 6 months later. But hey, why fix a game if nobody is playing it? Ugh. Starting to think I was kinda out of line for sucking this game's dick so hard. I'll just say it right now. The core gameplay of Outriders, it's pretty fun. I mean, the shooting it's nice, feels good. It reminds me of Gears of War in all the best ways. The abilities for the classes are pretty fun. Kind of. Killing people is satisfying because I feel as though, unlike many games that are in this looter-shooter genre, it's not afraid to let you blow people into bloody piles of blood.
And that's pretty cool.
You can definitely tell that this game was made by People Can Fly, because they also made Bulletstorm, which is one of the most violent video games I've ever played, and also one of my favorite video games. And it's right about when you hit, or at least for me, it was when we hit World Tier 5, which is about an hour or so into the game, where suddenly the way that you were playing the game is no longer the way that you can play the game, because enemies all of a sudden become a lot tougher, and you can't like, you know, just like balls out, run in there and like blast people to bits and have fun, because all of a sudden they die in like a few shotgun blasts to the face instead of one. Now this could have very well been the weapons that I had, but you know, I thought I had pretty good weapons, so not as many of the skills are as fun as you would think. All of the classes, the Technomancer, the Trickster, the Pyromancer, and the Devastator, they all have like 3 or 4 abilities that are good, and the rest are just like kind of like fluff almost. Like, you have the choice, you can use them, but you'd probably never want to. It's unfortunate because when this game came out, one of the big selling points was how it's not your typical looter shooter. It's not a game as a service kind of thing, so I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't feel so Destiny-esque at a certain point, but pretty quickly it starts to feel like Destiny in terms of how bullet spongy the enemies are and how unfun the gameplay loop becomes. Starts off fun, and then you start to realize that once the game actually like shifts into gear, it is not fun. It's not as fun. I don't want this video to be like forever and a half long, and I don't plan on going into any one specific aspect of the game like too crazy, but the end game, I think they messed up by making so many things in the end game timed, because you don't really have time to enjoy anything in the end game. You just have to bulldoze through the missions as fast as possible if you want to like get the good loot and really level up. And at that point, like, it just becomes a chore. Like, why do I want to play a chore? I want to play a fun, not a chore. Dude, this story sucks. I've seen people defend it in some of their Steam reviews or in some videos, but the examples that they give for why they defend it seem really vague, like, oh, it's really engaging, but don't really provide any examples of how engaging it is. I can tell you right now, this story, if anything, is disengaging. They can't give good examples 'cause it sucks. Sometimes the story starts to try, kind of, and then you run into a character who's like this big, scary, altered guy whose name is Seth. His name is Seth, and I'm supposed to think that he's cool. Seth! Moloch is the main bad guy, and he's lame also, because he's just a dude. He's just a guy. And the wiki describes him as barely recognizable as human. Barely recognizable as human. If I didn't tell you that this guy was a human, would you be able to tell me that he's human? He's just a big pale guy with like burnt hands and cargo pants with a weird like fetal baby thing that's tied up on his back that you never learn anything about. You think you're gonna learn something about him because you see it like doing stuff at one point? No. No, we just dropped that. Maybe in a DLC, but hey, who's sticking around to play that? Not me. Almost every character in this game is just like a jerk for no reason. No reason. They're like, my wife is dead and my children are dead, and if I had a dog he'd be dead and I wish I was dead. Hey dude.
Me too.
I'll give a little bit of credit where credit is due right now. The environments in this game, they look pretty nice and pretty when the game is on higher settings. I think some of the effects look really cool, and you know, whether you're fighting or you're just wandering around, I think this game looks alright. The alien life on the planet though is like so super disappointing. You go to like all these different like kind of biomes and vistas and stuff, and you expect the wildlife to change a lot, and there's like background animals, like little birds and stuff like that sometimes. But like the creatures that you fight, there's only 4 or 5, unlike the whole planet. Like all these different places, it's like 4 or 5 different alien things that you fight, and they're all just either resized or recolored. And there's, if you go on like the wiki and look at all the mini bosses and stuff, you see, oh, there's a pretty good variety. No, they're just all like recolors of the same 2 or 3 things. It's like the weakest shit ever. And there's like different, you know, factions and stuff that you fight, you know, guys with guns that you fight through the game, but they all look very similar too. Like their armor is a little bit different, but they all act the same and move the same, and you could tell me that I'm just fighting the same guy 10,000 times over in this game, and I would believe you. The best designs in the game are reserved for the player armor and the legendary weapons and stuff you get. And I gotta say, once again, give it a little more credit here. The designs of a lot of that stuff is pretty sick. I think they're really cool, and I think they do use that to their advantage in some of the marketing and stuff like that. Now, if only we could take all that creative goodness and like put it everywhere else in the game. Just take that, put it everywhere. That would be good. I just realized I'd like kind of talked mad shit on the story and then didn't really talk about the story, so let's talk about the story. You go to the planet, big electric thing happen. You get frozoned, and then you wake up years later. You get superpowers, and then some other people get superpowers, and they think that they are better than people who don't have superpowers. Space racism. Seth, you gotta kill Moloch. Milk. I'm just gonna start calling him Milk from now on. Your superpower is being super lactose intolerant. Fuck you, Milk. Oh, I'm gonna regret that later. Story sucks. Yakub. This dude you gotta deal with the whole game. He sucks. Give me back Dr. Cowboy from the beginning of the game. Just take the bullet out of his head. Bring him back. Basically, this game is just kind of victim to having such a weird bad launch with like networking and balance issues and having like a really lackluster repetitive end game that everybody kind of all at once was just like, I want to play. I want to play. I'm sure people probably like the average person, you know, they buy a game, they play a little bit, then they go to work for the week, then they play a little bit. They don't play it all at once, you know. But you played like 10 hours of the game when you first got it. You're one of the 125,000 people that bought the game when it came out. And then all of a sudden you start seeing these videos about how crappy the end game is and stuff. And you're like, I'm not gonna play anymore. I don't want to bother. And they quit. They stop playing. And that's what this is. That's what happened here. Like really just go play Warframe. It's free and it's more fun. Or don't, so I can make one of these videos about Warframe. That's probably not gonna happen for a long time. Now, of course, I know, as people like to point out in other videos, can't see the Xbox and PS5 numbers exactly, but from what I can see, it's not looking good. Hey, Square Enix, why don't you stick to single-player games that make no fucking sense, but are fun? Because this whole looter shooter thing that you've been trying to get into with like Avengers and this, gotta say, doesn't appear to be working. Like please just make a Kingdom Hearts looter shooter. I would buy it in a heartbeat. Make a Kingdom Hearts Battle Royale. I would buy every copy and I would be every player on every server. Do it and I'll do it. This video is supposed to be about Outriders. Okay, back to Outriders. I'll get back to you, Kingdom Hearts. You know, I try to kind of like fix these games when I make the videos. But this one, like, I don't really know if there's one avenue where it's like, fix this and the game will work. I don't know if there is that. I think the one really good thing that this game has going for it is the combat. I think that in theory and in the right environments and everything with the right builds, it's pretty fun and satisfying. Having to kill enemies to regain health is cool. Like I don't even know why they put cover in the game. It literally doesn't do anything besides like get you hurt. Just don't ever go into cover. The world tier system really just it just drags down the gameplay at a certain point, and it makes, you know, enemies that were once fun to fight, cannon fodder, become these brick shit houses that are a pain in the ass to fight. Like, it makes sense for the big, heavy-duty guys to be a pain in the ass to fight, but when the, like, little dudes start also becoming difficult to kill, not difficult, but more difficult than they should be, the combat ceases to be fun. And I mean, if it's doing that to those guys, imagine what it's doing to the big tanky guys. The skills that each class has are, like, mostly not very useful. I mean, I guess that's convenient because each class only has 3 active skill slots that you can have, so I guess that really narrows down the decisions you have to make. But, like, still, like, make more fun skills. Make them more fun and useful. The skill tree system seemed cool at first, you know, when I was in the demo and I could only fill in like 2 slots in the skill tree. It was like, this will probably get much better later.
No.
The skill tree, even with like the big nodes on the skill tree that look like they're important, that like the small changes you get from the nodes are like not, they don't feel like anything when you unlock one. You don't unlock one and feel it right after you get it like, ooh, I feel stronger now. Oh, this is more useful now. It's just like, it's a tiny bit better. Enemy variety in the game is like super, super light. Human enemies, there's like a handful of different guys you fight. There's 4 different like main bosses in the game, 2 of which are just dudes. They're just guys. They're just guy on this alien planet with limited potential. 2 of them are dudes. One shoots lightning, one shoots fire. We couldn't do better than that. I mean, I am also just a guy. But I am a cool guy. So it's different. Anyway, probably don't buy this game unless something crazy happens and all of a sudden a bunch of people are playing it again. Or maybe it'll go free eventually. Think that would be cool. I think that would be a nice way to get people to play it. Throw some microtransactions in there, dude. I don't care. Outriders has potential. Ow, I hit my hand on the wall. Outriders has potential. It just needs to really tap into it. And if the game needs to go free and put in some like paid skins and I don't know, XP boosters or something. Don't do that. Avengers just did that. I don't know, man. Just tap into that potential. Make sure you guys like the video or dislike it. Comment down below. Subscribe if you want to see more. Or if you just like me, please like me. Stay tuned for the next video where I chug more milk and hate myself for it, kind of like I do right now. See ya.